Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Magoon Squad show. Today it's just going to be me, but Parker and or Bobby should be back tomorrow. Possibly, we will see. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to get into some things that happened today and then get into some of my thoughts on them. First off, we have Brandon Aiyuk did get an extension with the San Francisco 49ers, so there's not really much animosity there anymore. We have week one of college football kicking off tonight with some big games coming up this weekend as well. Going to kind of touch in on that and also like betting wise, what to expect as well from that. And then finally, the UEFA Champions League just had their draw for each team for their 4 home games, 4 away games. So we're going to get into that as well. And I believe later on, if not tomorrow, but next week, Parker will be giving his take on those games as well. So let's go ahead and get into the show, guys. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into our UEFA Champions League segment. Of course, we did have the draws today, so this announcement is very new. I'm not sure a lot of people have talked about it. I hope I'm going to be one of the first. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive in here. I'm just going to highlight the wins in green, the draws in yellow, and the reds and losses for each respective team in their games. Real quick, we have Real Madrid. It's going to be that top left one on the screen there. Top right is going to be Man City. Bayern Munich is going to be bottom left over there, and Paris Saint-Germain is going to be right over here. I know you can't see their logo, but PSG is right there in that box. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. Real Madrid's got Borussia Dortmund, Salzburg at home. As long as we're Milan and Stuttgart at home as well. But the road games are Liverpool, Lille, Atalanta, and Brest. Honestly, looking at this, I think they beat Borussia Dortmund at home, beat Salzburg at home, Milan at home, and Stuttgart at home. I think they clear their home wins. I think they go 4-0 at home. On the road, though, beating Lille, Brest, and Atalanta. And then, honestly, drawing against Liverpool at Liverpool. They might even lose it, honestly. I've debated about giving Liverpool that win, but I can just see Real Madrid equalizing it kind of late to go home with the draw. I think a 7-1-0 record looks pretty good for them. 7 wins, 1 draw, 0 losses. To me, that looks pretty good for them. Not really too much to cover there. Didn't really get a tough group. I expected to be more like Arsenal in there maybe or Leverkusen, but obviously they didn't really get a tough group for them. So good for Real Madrid and their fans. But moving on to Man City. You got Inter Milan at home, Feyenoord at home, Sporting on the road, PSG on the road, Club Brugge at home, Sparta Prague at home, Bratislava away on the road, and Juventus on the road. Kind of going through this real quick. They beat Sporting, they beat Feyenoord, beat Sparta Prague, they beat Club, they beat Bratislava, and they beat Juve. Honestly, and this one is crazy. You guys are going to call me crazy. I'm not a huge Inter Milan fan. But honestly, you know what? Nah, they're going to beat. I was going to say they draw that. I think they beat Inter and they lose to PSG at PSG. For some reason, PSG plays very well at home. And I know even without Kylian Mbappe, and we'll get into more of that when we get to the PSG segment there, which is a tough schedule for PSG. But with Jean Carlos Ramos, Bradley Barcola, and a couple of those others, great guys, Dembele as well. I probably butchered his name. I am so sorry. But anyway, kind of those guys stepping up. G is still in net. I can really see them competing in this UEFA Champions League, not winning, but competing. So I'm going to go ahead and say that's that's going to be 7-0-1. Let me go ahead and mark that as a win real quick. But moving on. Now we got Bayern Munich, kind of the talk of the town. You know, Harry Kane struggles in any of the championship stuff. UEFA Champions League, he's done well, but not good enough to win him one or any trophy of that matter. But anyway, that's not the point of what we're doing this for. Looking at their kind of thing here, I think, do they beat PSG at home? I think they draw that. Honestly, they beat Feyenoord. They beat Dinamo, Bratislava. They beat Aston Villa, they beat barely Aston Villa on the road. Shakhtar, they should beat. Benfica, they should be. I don't know. That's going to be one of those teams that defensively they shape pretty well. Their defensive shape is very nice, so we'll see about that. Barcelona, I think they lose to, and PSG, I think they draw to PSG. I honestly do. I think PSG and them can both score a lot of goals. I think it's going to be either a 3-3 or 2-2 kind of game that's going to put them in a draw. So for Bayern Munich, I see, what is that, 6? I see a 6-1-1 finish for them. 6 win, 1 draw, 1 loss. But moving on, not really much to say about them. The real biggest question going into this is how are they going to do on the attack, and are they going to show up, right? I mean, Harry Kane and that team is very Jamal Musiala. They have the guys to attack and attack and attack. Leroy Sané, all these guys. They have a good defense. It's really just how they show up week in and week out. I don't think they beat Barcelona on the road at Barcelona, but regardless, Bayern Munich 6-1-1 should be good enough to either get them in the knockouts to get into the round of 16 or the round of 16. But now looking at PSG and their matches, you got Man City, PSV. I'll just kind of go through this. Man City, I think they beat Man City at home. I know that was kind of a weird one. They draw against Bayern Munich. I'm going to get to that in a second. They beat Stuttgart, Girona. They beat them. Salzburg and PSV they win. I think they lose to Arsenal. Man, do they beat Atletico? Atletico Madrid at home. That's a tough. You know what? Let's give it to them. They draw here, and then they beat. I'll say they beat the Atletico Madrid and go 6-1-1 as well. That's not a bad record looking at everything, all things considered. I think 6-1-1 for PSG and Bayern Munich is very doable. Real Madrid 7-1-0 with 1 draw and 1 loss for Man City. That looks very doable to me. I like that. Personally, that's just me. And of course, I'll have these saved so we can look back on these when the time comes. But moving on. As you see, we have Liverpool, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, and Leipzig. As you can see all right there on the screen. So let's go ahead and dive into Liverpool. Liverpool was one of those matches I said that they were going to draw against Real Madrid just because it is at Liverpool. And again, I think Liverpool's good enough to compete with the big teams like that, even with Kylian Mbappe and Vinny Jr. there. I think that it's kind of one of those late equalizers that get Real Madrid the draw. I think they beat Lille, Bologna. I think they beat Girona. I think they beat Girona and PSV and Leipzig. The only thing is, I don't think they beat Milan on the road and Leverkusen at home. I think Leverkusen has one of those crazy streaks that they went on. You know how they went on that no loss streak last year? They either won or drew their matches. I think it's the same thing for them. I think they'll find a way to not lose against Liverpool at Liverpool. So go ahead and give me, what is that, 5? I'll go 5, 2, and 1. But anyway, sorry. Uh, I'll go ahead and say it's 5, 2, and 1. Sorry, I got distracted there. But looking at this, let's go ahead and move on to. Let's go ahead and move on to Inter Milan. We got Leipzig, Cervina, Zvezda at home, Man City on the road, Young Boys on the road, Monaco at home, Arsenal at home, Leverkusen on the road, Sparta Prague on the road. Not necessarily a hard one, but not an easy one either. They beat Cervina, Zvezda, Leipzig at home, Monaco at home, beat Young Boys on the road, Sparta Prague on the road. And since they're playing Leverkusen on the road, I think Inter Milan lose that one. They lose to, I believe we went lose to, because I had Man City beating them. Yeah, lose to Man City and lose to Arsenal, even at home. So we're looking at 5, 5, 0, and 3 for Inter Milan. I think this one's a respectable one. Lorenzo Martinez and that team is still great. Still a good team. I don't think they're as good as they were last year personally. Just I've seen them in the Serie A so far, not really doing crazy work. Same with Real Madrid, but I think Real Madrid shows up for their club competition matches, their European competition ones. Anyway, I think Leverkusen's one of those teams. If you play them on the road, they could win. If you play them at home, I think you could beat them or maybe draw with them. They're a very interesting team. But Leipzig, Cervina, Zvezda, Young Boys, Monaco, and Sparta Prague. The Monaco one might surprise a lot of people. Monaco is not bad. But kind of looking at that, 5-0-3 is where I'm comfortable putting them at. Moving on to my team now, Borussia Dortmund. We did get thankfully after that group that we had last year, thankfully we got an easier 8 games. Barcelona, Celtic, Real Madrid, Dinamo. I don't know why I just said it like that. Dinamo, Shakhtar, Sturm Graz, Bologna, and Club Brugge. Go ahead and give me a win against Barcelona. I know what you're gonna say. No way you guys beat Barcelona, but it's at the Yellow Wall, right? It's at Dortmund, at the Yellow Wall, with the fans, with the environment. Give me Barcelona, us beating Barcelona at home. Same with Celtic, Shakhtar, Sturm Graz, Dinamo, Club, and Bologna. And then, like I said, there's no way. I will love to see it. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it, but no way Borussia Dortmund goes to Real Madrid and beats them. I'm sorry. I am hopeful in the sense of my team, and this record might show that as it's 7-0-1. It might show that, but at the same time, I'm very confident in my team in the new formation that we've been running, the new tactics that we've been doing with our new manager. Of course, we lost Fulkrug, but as long as we have Schlotterbeck, Kobel, Adenimi, and guys like that, Jordi and Brandt, and most of our core guys there, I think we should be okay. Moving on to Leipzig. Not an easy schedule for them. Not an easy schedule at all. Looking at this, man, I'm gonna have to get the red highlighter out more on this one. Goodness me. Lose to Inter, lose to Liverpool. I think they lose to Atletico Madrid at Atletico Madrid. I think they can beat Sturm Graz. Sorry, I keep butchering their names. Celtic, I think they can beat. Sporting, I think they can beat at home, but I think they... just because it is at Leipzig, I think they draw against Juve and Aston Villa. That's kind of where I'm at on them. 3-2-3. It's a weird kind of thing, but 3-2-3 is kind of where I'm comfortable at putting them at, just because it's one of those things I'm looking at. It's tough. They're not a bad team. Pindo and their attack is great, but I don't think they're good enough to beat some of the top teams like that. And with Juve, they're such a wavy team, along with Aston Villa and Ollie Watkins. Such a very dynamic team. I don't think they beat them at home. I think they draw that. But moving on. So before we get into this one, let's see. We got Barcelona on the top left, Leverkusen on the top right, Atletico Madrid on the bottom left, and Atalanta on the bottom right. Let's go ahead and kind of look at this one. So we got Barcelona, Bayern Munich. That one, they are going to win at home. Young Boys, they should win at home. Like I said, Borussia Dortmund should beat them on the road, because Borussia Dortmund is my team, and that's what I'm going to go with as a fan. Cervina, Zvezda, Barcelona should take care of them. Brest should take care of them. Monaco should take care of them. But this is where I kind of question things. Atalanta is a very solid team, and in fact, I'm going to go with the fact that Atalanta will draw with them, honestly, at Barcelona. I really do truly think so, and I think Barcelona gets it just maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1 win against Benfica, but that's kind of where I have them at a 6-1-1. Kind of with Bayern Munich and PSG, I don't think Barcelona is the best team in this competition to be 7-0-1 or 7-1-0. Borussia Dortmund is, because of course we made it last year to the finals. But anyway, enough dwelling on the past there. Moving on to Bayern Leverkusen, a team that was very interesting to follow last year. I'm sure you guys all followed that kind of streak they were on. Let's go ahead and kind of dive into them. So Inter Milan, they're going to beat them at home. Salzburg, they're going to beat them at home. Feyenoord's going to beat them at... Leverkusen's going to beat Feyenoord on the road, I think. Sparta Prague, as well as Brest. This is where I can kind of see it get interesting here. I don't think they beat Liverpool. you know what? I had them at a draw, and I'm gonna stick with the draw. I don't think they beat them. Like I said, I think they draw with them to get it done, and I think I'm gonna say draw with Milan. I don't think they lose. I think they draw most of their games. So, ooh, I forgot about Atletico. Ooh. You know what? Let's go ahead and give them a loss. I think they get a loss against Atletico Madrid on the road. I think they beat them. I don't know why I have this feeling, but I think Leverkusen loses to Atletico Madrid on the road to give them a loss in a while. I'm not sure when that game happens, but 5-2-1 is certainly not bad for Leverkusen. That should be good enough to get them into the round of 16, or not the round of 16. Sorry, should be good to get them a chance to play in the round of 16 in a knockout round. But moving on to Atletico de Madrid, or Atletico Madrid, however you want to word it. They beat Lille, Salzburg, Bratislava, Sparta Praha. Do they beat Benfica? Sure, why not? They beat Benfica. I think they beat Leverkusen. PSG was the one I said they're going to lose to, was PSG. And then Leipzig was the other one I said that they're going to beat. So, I did the wrong one. So Leipzig there. I could see that. I could definitely see this. I could definitely see a 7-0-1 record for Atletico Madrid. Not a tough schedule for them, not an easy one either. But moving on to Atalanta, this is the one I'm very interested in because the schedule's not tough. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and go Celtics, Young Boys, Strum, Shakhtar, and Stuttgart. All wins for Atalanta. The other one was a draw for them against Barcelona. And then Arsenal, I don't think... did I have them over here? I don't think they beat Real Madrid or Arsenal personally, which is not a bad record. I mean, looking at Atalanta's record right here, you got 5 wins. 5 wins, 1 draw, and 2 losses. Not a bad record. Kind of vice versa of Leverkusen. That's kind of where I would have them in kind of this tournament. 5-1-2 or 5-2-1 for Atalanta and Leverkusen. I can kind of see that. Barcelona 6-1-1. Atletico Madrid 7-0-1, just based off of who they got in the group. Moving on now. This is where you guys are going to start seeing a lot more reds. In fact, let's go ahead and start with Juve. They don't beat Man City. They don't beat. Wow, actually, Juve doesn't have like that bad of a schedule. Honestly, you know what? Maybe not so much Reds. I think they beat... Ooh, do they beat Stuttgart? They can beat Club Brugge. They can beat Lille. They can beat Leipzig. I don't know. They could, but I'm going to go with draw, actually. I think I went with draw anyway on Leipzig's side. PSV, Stuttgart, and Benfica, and Aston Villa. Honestly, I don't see them beating Aston Villa on the road, but I can see them beating Stuttgart, Benfica, and PSV at home to give them a very respectable 5 wins. I think they could go 5-1-2 could be their record. I just think they got kind of lucky with their home games. If these games were on the road, if Benfica and PSV were on the road, I'd probably go vice versa, not a win, but a loss. I think they could get it done, though, at home at Juventus. But looking at Benfica real quick, here we go. We got Benfica losing to... Ooh, wow. That is not red. That is not red, people. They lose to Barcelona. They lose to Juventus. And they lose to... I just want to make sure I cover my bases here. They do lose to... what did I get? Oh, very interesting. Benfica. Sorry, yeah. They lose to Atletico Madrid, and they lose to Bayern Munich as well. I believe I did have them as a loss. Yeah, Bayern Munich as well as a loss, but some redemption. They beat. Ooh, do they beat? Yeah, I'm gonna go with that right here. I think that they could get that done. So I could see a 4-0-4 record for them. Very again, I don't think that's going to be good enough to get into the knockout rounds to try to get into the round of 16. But they could very well surprise me this year. Benfica is one of those teams where they're really good defensively. Offensively, they struggle sometimes. That's the same thing with like Feyenoord and PSV as well. But like I said, I could be very shocked and surprised. Now, Arsenal is the big one we wanted to get into, right? Arsenal is the one that everyone's kind of waiting for and kind of hyped around. Looking at PSG, they do beat PSG. Sorry, let me get that out of the way. They do beat PSG. They do beat Dynamo. They beat. Didn't I say they lose to Inter or drew with Inter? No, they beat Inter, beat Sporting, beat Shakhtar, beat Monaco. I think I said Atalanta could give them a run for their money, but no. And not a very tough one. I think they're the only team that probably will go perfect in this. If not PSG, they could. I might switch that PSG one. No, you know what? PSG at home, I think they beat them. I think this is the one though that they could go 7-1-0. But honestly, 8-0 is not impossible. If they beat PSG and Inter, the rest of their schedule is not tough, right? If you beat PSG on the road and PSG at home and Inter on the road, Arsenal should beat Shakhtar, should beat Atalanta, should be Girona, should beat Monaco, should be Sporting, and should be Dynamo. Moving on to Club Brugge over here. Again, man, am I even going to be able to highlight any of these? I mean, goodness me. Celtic, I can see them beating on the road. Oh, man. Sporting, why not? And Strom Graz, why not? But other than that, you are going to see a lot of red. Borussia Dortmund, they lose. Man City, they lose. Juventus, they lose. Milan, they lose. Aston Villa, they lose. And I'm going with the draw against Celtic. I honestly, I'm not saying they're bad. They're not bad. They have the potential. They have the young potential to kind of get there. But overall, I mean, I honestly can see a 2-1 and how many losses is that? 2-1-5 record. That's where I'm kind of feeling it for them right now. Um, but moving on to oh gosh, there's gonna be a lot of red too. Um, Moving on to Shakhtar. Um, let's go ahead and just knock this out of the way. Bayern Munich loss, Dortmund loss, Arsenal loss. Man, poor Shakhtar. They got a tough schedule. Atalanta should beat them as well. I think I gave them the win. Yep, sure did. Uh, you know what? Let's go ahead and give them a couple wins here. I think they beat Young Boys, even though Young Boys is one of those teams that can give teams run for their money. I think they beat Brest at home, but then I think they lose to PSV on the road and Bologna on the road. Uh, I mean, honestly, 2-0-6 is kind of where I have them. Sorry, Shakhtar fans out there, if you are watching. I don't think you're bad. I just don't think you're good enough to compete in this UEFA Champions League with the teams that you got personally. Now moving towards AC Milan, they beat Club. Uh, man, they draw against Leverkusen. Um, Honestly, lose to Real, lose to Liverpool. I think they had them lost to Liverpool, right? Yeah. Or no, no, no. I had AC Milan winning that one. That's right. Uh, AC Milan winning this one. Servina Zvezda should win that one. Dinamo should win that one. I mean I could see that, honestly. I could see that. That's fine with me. 6-1 and 1 again. I could definitely see that for AC Milan. You guys should be in safe hands, good enough to either make the round of 16 or compete to get into the round of 16. Looking at Feyenoord now. Let me go back here. Let me see Bayern Munich. Yep, Bayern Munich should lose to Bayern Munich, lose to Man City. I think I had them losing to Leverkusen. Yep, I did have them losing to Leverkusen. Benfica, I had them losing to Benfica since it is on the road. Honestly though, I'm gonna go ahead and say they beat Salzburg at home, Sparta Prague at home, Lille on the road, and then probably lose to Giorna. 3-5 is kind of where I see them for that record. But moving on to Sporting, Sporting got a very, very unlucky and tough schedule, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and look. I got to look real quick. I want to make sure I'm connecting all the dots right. So they beat Storm Graz. They beat Bologna. They beat. Do they beat PSV? Do they beat PSV on the road? Probably not. Uh, I think they lose to Leipzig. Uh, Lille. I think they beat Lille at home. Club Berg. Um, I think they can win that one. Not them, but Club can win that one. So let's go ahead and take out the red here. Unfortunately, lose to Man City, lose to Arsenal, lose to Club, and then I'm gonna say they beat PSV. Do you win? Probably not. Honestly, probably not. I'm going to go ahead and say 3-0-5 will be your record, Sporting. Unfortunately, not good enough to probably make the knockout rounds. And I think we have 3 more here to go through. We're kind of rapid fire these, speed it up a little bit. Let's see. PSV beat Shakhtar. Kind of looking through here and kind of making some assumptions. Beat Shakhtar, beat Brest, beat Cervena Zvezda, lose to Sporting. No. Beat Sporting, and then I think I have you guys losing to Liverpool, losing to PSG. Did I have them losing to Juve? I'm pretty sure I did. Yep, losing to Juve and losing to Girona. Personally, that's just kind of me. So I mean, 4-4 is not bad. For them, that might be good enough to make the knockout round to get into the round of 16. We'll see. Dinamo, honestly, maybe Bratislava, and that's about it. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say loss, 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 and loss. Personally, that's just me. I don't really think they're ready to compete in this yet. That is just on me, though. Sorry, Dinamo fans. That's just kind of where I'm at. For Salzburg, though, they beat Dinamo. They beat Brest. Do they beat Feyenoord? Probably not. I think they could beat Sparta Prague, though. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I think they could beat them. I think they lose to Feyenoord, lose to Real Madrid, lose to PSG, lose to Atletico, and lose to Leverkusen. Right there. So you're looking at 3-0 and what is that? 5. Lille now, the French team. Oh, French. Storm, you can beat Bologna. You can beat. I think I had y'all losing to Sporting. Let's see, Lille. Yeah, unfortunately, I had you losing to Sporty. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Sporting, Feyenoord, Real, Liverpool, Juventus, and Atletico. I kind of see them going 2-6. That's kind of where I'm comfortable at going with them. Moving on to bro, this is gonna be so many reds. Bratislava, Oh, what the heck? We don't want that. Bratislava lose to Man City, lose to Bayern Munich, lose to Milan, lose to Atletico Madrid, lose to Girona, lose to Stuttgart. Did I have them being Dinamo? I did. So Dinamo lose, and honestly, Celtics lose. I would be shocked if. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Bratislava. I'm sure they're not bad, but honestly, 0-8 might be the record. Unfortunately, sorry, Bratislava fans. Cervena Zvezda up here. Barcelona, Whoa, I am not. My bad. My apologies. Barcelona, you lose. Did I give you the win against PSV? I did not. Nope. Young boys, you could probably beat Monaco, no. Stuttgart, no. Benfica, no. AC Milan, no. Inter Milan, no. I'll go ahead and give you young boys. So in that case, young boys, I think beat Celtic. Did I give Shakhtar that win against Young Boys? Yeah, I did. Yikes. And I think, you know what? Let's throw Stuttgart in there. Why not? Why not? Aston Villa lose, Atalanta lose, Barcelona lose, Inter lose, Shakhtar lose, Cervina Zvezda lose. Yep. So looking at that record, this is 1-0-7, and this is 2-0-6. Moving on to Celtic now, a team that in the Scottish Premiership are very dominant, but when it comes to European Championship, they struggle just because they are not playing. They're not used to playing that competition week in and week out when they have to play teams like that. So kind of moving on here, let's look. Leipzig loss, Young Boys loss, Borussia Dortmund loss. Dinamo, I think I gave Dinamo that win. Let me check. I did get no. They lose to Din. Okay, so right now, Dinamo, and then yeah. Okay, so they draw against Club, and they beat Dinamo. Bratislava. Yeah, I mean Bratislava just gonna have a rough tournament. Uh, who do I have Dinamo beating? Dinamo, it was yeah, so they beat Dinamo. So they beat Dinamo here. Lose the Young Boys, beat Bratislava. Lose to, did I give Leipzig that win? I think I did, yeah. Leipzig over Celtics, yeah. So Young Boys, Leipzig, Dortmund, Atalanta, and Aston Villa. I'll go ahead and mark that as a 2-1, and 5. Not bad record, not a good record either. Moving on, we got two more. Let's go ahead and dive into this real quick, and we'll before we get to our next segment here. So we got Monaco. I think Monaco is a good team. I think they struggle though. I think they're kind of building towards getting there. Of course, they beat Cervina, Zvezda, and Dinamo. Do they beat? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say they win that one, but they lose to Villa, Arsenal, Benfica, Inter, and Barcelona. Honestly, not a great draw for them. Not a great draw at all. I think they got a very unfortunate draw. Sparta Praha is another team that I think is very solid in their league, just not in European Championship. So in that case, let's go ahead and kind of look here. They lose to Salzburg. I haven't done Feyenoord yet. I'm about to. I think I'm, or no, I did do Feyenoord. Where did I get Feyenoord to win? Yeah, they lose to Feyenoord. They beat Brest, lose to Leverkusen, Madrid, Man City, Inter. I think they can beat Brest though. And Stuttgart on the road, I think they lose. I think they lose to Stuttgart. So we're looking at 1-0-7, unfortunately missing out as well. Moving on though, Aston Villa loses to Bayern Munich. They beat them. Leipzig. Let's see what we got here. Do they beat Leipzig? They draw with Leipzig. Juve, for instance, they. So I got them. I got Aston Villa beating Juve, Bologna, Celtics, Monaco. I mean, I got beating Monaco. Aston Villa winning Club Brugge and Young Boys. So all in all, not a bad record for Aston Villa. Pretty good draw for Aston Villa. That looks like a 6-1-1 record. Should be good enough again to either make the knockout or make the round of 16 or make the knockout matches to try for the round of 16. Bologna, do I even have them beating anybody? My gosh. They lose to Dortmund, lose to Liverpool. Do I have them beating Lille or no? I don't think I got to Lille yet. We'll give them the win against Lille at home. Personally, unless I think I already did Lille though. Yeah. No, lose to Lille. Let's see. Where did I have them against Sporting? Beating Sporting. Oh boy, this is a tough. They beat them. Who do they play against Monaco? I think Monaco's the one team I haven't gotten to yet. Oh no, up here. Yeah, so lose to Monaco, lose to Benfica, lose to Aston Villa, and beating Shakhtar Donetsk. So that's very Very possible for them 1-0-7 as well. I'm telling you guys, it gets a little confusing when you get here. But on the last one, this is the final little thing that we're doing. And then we'll kind of go back through it and just repeat the records for the podcast and for the people viewing on YouTube. Giorna, again, got a very unfortunate draw, losing to PSG, Arsenal, Liverpool. I don't think I had them beating Feyenoord, honestly. No, I did, having beaten Feyenoord. What about PSV? Losing to Giorna. Yeah, so I gave Giorna the win against Feyenoord, PSV, Bratislava, Sturm Graz, and losing to AC Milan over here. So 4-4 seems very, very doable for them. That's about where I'm comfortable at. Either 5-3 or 4-4 is kind of where I'm comfortable at for them. Sturm Graz. Honestly, it's going to be a tough tournament for them, unfortunately. I mean, I hate to break it to them. Hope there's not any fans out there listening. I am sorry. You lose to Atalanta. Do you beat Club Brugge? Nope, you don't. You don't beat Giorna. You do beat Brest, though. You lose to Dortmund. Let's see. Do you lose to Lille? Lille, you do. Lose to Sporting and Leipzig. So, not a great, I'm just kind of going through, not a great tournament. I do think you beat Brest just because Brest is a very newer team coming into European competition. So 1-0-7 is kind of where I'm at with you guys. Moving on to Stuttgart up there. Beating Young Boys, beating Cervena Zvezda. I don't think Sparta Prague beats them, honestly. I don't think I had them beating them. I don't, yeah. So Sparta Prague there, and Bratislava, yeah. So that's where I have them losing to PSG, Real Madrid, Atalanta, and Juve. I could see Stuttgart going 5-3 or 4-4, like I kind of have them right here. And finally, Brest losing to Real Madrid, losing to Barcelona, losing to Leverkusen. Did I give them a win against Shakhtar, or did I shock them out of that? Yep, losing to Shakhtar, Sparta Prague lose, Salzburg lose, PSV lose, and yeah, I think 0-8 is kind of where they're at right there. So, kind of going back through all of this, let's start from here. I'm just gonna go through and kind of scroll through all this because we are now done filling it out. You guys have watched me fill it out. So to end it all, Real Madrid 7-1 in their matches, 6-1-1 for Bayern Munich, Man City 7-0-1, PSG 6-1-1, Liverpool is going to be 5-2-1, Inter Milan 5-0-3, Borussia Dortmund 7-0-1 with the loss coming to Real Madrid, Leipzig 3-2-3. Barcelona 6-1-1 with the loss to Borussia Dortmund at Borussia Dortmund. Atletico Madrid 7-0-1 with the loss to PSG at PSG. Leverkusen 5-2-1 with the loss to Atletico Madrid. Atalanta 5-1-2 with the loss to Real Madrid and Arsenal at home. Moving on to the Juventus, 5-1-2 for them. Honestly, believe it or not, Arsenal 8-0. Just with the schedule, they kind of got it easy. Benfica 4-4, Club Brugge 2-1-5, Shakhtar 2-0-6, Feyenoord is 3-5, Milan is 6-1-1, Sporting CP over in Portugal is 3-5. PSV 4-4, Salzburg 3-5, Dinamo 1-7, Lille 2-6, Cervena Zvezda 1-7, Young Boys 2-6, Bratislava 0-8. Unfortunately, not the only undefeated unwinning team though. It's, someone else is not going to have a win as well. Have 0. Celtic at 2-1-5. Monaco at 3-5, Aston Villa 6-1-1, Sparta Prague at 1-7, Bologna at 1-7, Girona at 4-4, Sturm Graz at 1-7, Stuttgart at 4-4, and Brest at 0-8. So, all in all, if we were looking at the top 8, Real Madrid, Man City, PSG, Bayern Munich, that's 4, Liverpool, Borussia Dortmund, Inter Milan, that's, what is that? That's 4, 7. Based off record though, it would go Real Madrid, Man City, Bayern, and PSG. That's 4. Borussia Dortmund. That's 5. Atletico Madrid, Barcelona. That's what 2, 3. So 7, and then it would be. Did I say Arsenal already? Yeah. So it would be Aston Villa. So Aston Villa. It would be Aston Villa. Oh, I forgot about Milan. That's gonna be like more of a tiebreaker, I think. Arsenal, uh, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern, PSG, Man City, Real Madrid. Those are your 8, in my opinion. I don't know how that tiebreaker is going to work. We'll kind of see when it happens. But anyway, moving on to our next segment of the show, we're going to be talking about Brandon Aiyuk in his contract with the San Francisco 49ers and kind of how that's going to affect the team now that he's got that contract that he wanted. So let's get right into that segment. All right, so let's get into our next segment here. Brandon Aiyuk just now today signed an extension with the San Francisco 49ers. That's kind of been the big talk of how the season's going to go for the 49ers just because there's so much uncertainty with Brandon Aiyuk in his contract. Now that Brandon Aiyuk does have his contract, I believe it was, let's take a look here. It was 4 years, $120 million contract extension with 76 million of the contract guaranteed. Kind of looking through that now. I mean, looking through the San Francisco salary now, you got a cap hit with Deebo Samuel of 28.6 million, who is a free agent in 2026. I'm sure after seeing Brandon Aiyuk still is going to want some sort of contract similar to his with the guaranteed money. But as well as you got a couple other contracts kind of coming up as well for the San Francisco 49ers. You got George Kittle's contract of, I believe his total is 12.2 is his cap hit. So that's coming up in 2026 as well, along with Shavarius Ward, their cornerback, who is 29 years old, but 18.4 million. We'll see. I can probably see them restructuring a contract with the 49ers there. But their cap space is 39.6, still has some wiggle room to work with, but a lot of contracts coming up this year. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot of contracts coming up this year. They got Nick Bosa locked up now, Deebo Samuel locked up for just a couple more years, Brandon Ayuk's locked up till 29, Fred Warner locked up to 2027, Javon Hargrave, their defensive tackle, locked up to 2027 as well. So they do have guys. I mean, McCaffrey's locked up to 2028. Really, the big one that we're kind of wondering is Brock Purdy. His contract's coming up. His rookie contract is ending soon. His cap hit is only $1 million right now. So honestly, I can kind of see. It's gonna be tough, but I can see him getting. Depending on how he plays this year, man, he could earn himself a big contract. If he gets a Super Bowl, then I could honestly see him getting a huge contract, but I don't think he will. So just getting a nice, hefty contract there. But then you got a lot of guys coming up for the 49ers. You got um, Leonard Floyd, who they signed recently, is 2026. Kyle Juszczyk, 2026. I mean, a lot of their guys are kind of just players that they kind of, I don't want to say loaned out, but kind of just have for the year. There's a lot of 2025 guys on the team. Brandon Allen, Josh Dobbs, Ricky Purcell, a lot of these guys. Sorry, Ricky Purcell is good till 2029. It's Jawan Jennings, who's not Devondre Campbell. Just a bunch of guys. Chris Conley, wide receiver, has a 1-year deal. So a lot of their team is due up after this year, which we could really see that kind of shape the cap space for them. And next year, looking at this 2025, they only have 25.9 million in cap space, which is not a lot, but it's not a crazy amount. Uh, and then they just have a bunch of dead money, Arik Armstead being one of them. They still have 15 million in dead cap space, as well as 22 million this year in dead cap space. So we're going to kind of see what they can do around that with Brock Purdy's contract coming up soon. He's going to be requesting a lot of money if he continues to play well for the 49ers. But we'll kind of see how that kind of plays out along through the season. But now that Brandon Aiyuk has his contract, I really do think that the the tension inside the 49ers locker room is going to be pretty okay now. I don't think there should be too much animosity going on now that he's got his contract there with him. But the other guy who's kind of been, I don't want to say holding out, but he's kind of not been as invested in the team lately is Jamar Chase with his contract coming up in 2026, and seeing that Brandon Aiyuk just got 76 million guaranteed of a 4-year, $120 million deal, not even being a top 5 receiver in the league, in my opinion. That means Jamar Chase is going to be asking for a lot. You see the cap space for the Bengals this year is 12 million. Next year they'll have 66 million to kind of work with. Joe Burrow's cap hit next year is 46.2 million. So I mean, we're really gonna have to see what Jamar Chase does, because come 2026, he's not gonna be on the roster. So he's looking for that contract extension, kind of like how Aiyuk got with the 4-year deal. I'm not really sure how that's gonna go play out for them. I'm honestly leaning towards, like, if Aiyuk got 120 million, I can honestly see Chase getting 150 to 170 million. I mean, what was CD's contract? Let's see here. Because I would say CD Lamb is sort of the same, but seeing that CD Lamb got a, let's take a look here. He got a $136 million contract extension at $38 million signing bonus with $100 million guaranteed. I think Jamar Chase, I'm not going to say is better than CeeDee Lamb. I think he is personally, but a lot of people would disagree. I think they put him on the same level. I think that Jamar Chase, I'm really saying the $150 million range is kind of where they're looking at, with probably $100 million guaranteed, and I don't know about a sign-on bonus, but it's just going to be one of those interesting things come next year that we'll have to kind of pay attention to this and kind of see what's going to happen here to those contracts. So that's just something to look out for. But Brandon Aiyuk did get his contract, so that's good for him. He's now safe to play with the 49ers and not going to hold out anymore. But before we get into our next segment, like I said, Parker and or Bobby should be joining in tomorrow's episode. So make sure you guys tune in for that. And let's get into our final segment, which talks a little bit about week 1 of college football and just kind of the betting aspect that I would kind of look out for this year. All right, so getting into our next segment, like I said, we're going to be touching on college football week 1 as it's happening right now while I'm recording this. Of course, you got Colorado losing to North Dakota State as I'm recording this right now. Missouri up 28-0, Kansas up 27-0, stuff like that. 14-14 in the NC State Western Carolina game. What I kind of wanted to touch on here really is just my biggest thing is I'm looking at some of these games, right? You got Wake Forest up 31-10. Their spread was, I believe, Wake Forest was like a 30-something point favorite. And that's kind of what I wanted to touch on here is, like, while you have big spreads like these, I really do think personally, just with the helmet communication going on in college football now, that a lot of these teams can keep these games close, right? I think big, huge spreads, for instance, like Coastal Carolina right here, Jacksonville State was favored. They were not only favored to win, but they were 3.5 point favorite. They're getting beat 31-3 right now against Coastal Carolina. It's things like that where I'm kind of sitting here saying, you know what, the spread wise, maybe not do a big spread, because Utah and Southern Utah right now, it's only in the first quarter. I get it. But for Utah to be a 37.5 point favorite, I mean, I think a lot of teams can keep that kind of close. Just because of the helmet communication, it helps them play better. And looking at the Rutgers match that just happened, Rutgers against Howard, it was 44-7. The spread was 38.5. They did not cover the spread. That's what I'm saying. Big spreads like that, anywhere from like 38, 39 and above, that's tough for me. That's tough for me not to give the points to the other team just because helmet communication. I think the helmet communication really does change the aspect of how the game's going to be played and give some of these other teams, some of these teams that aren't as good as like NC State, for instance. Like I said, NC State at the time of recording, it's 14:46 left in the third quarter. It's 14-14 right now. NC State was a 32-point favorite. 32-point favorite over Western Carolina. It's 14-14 at the end of the half. So what I'm trying to say is, like, looking at all these big spread, just be kind of careful going into that, because it could very well be where, like Wisconsin, for instance, against Western Michigan, 23.5 points. Honestly, I'd probably give the 23 points to Western Michigan. Same thing with Louisville against Austin Peay. 37-point favorite for Louisville. I'd probably give 37 points to Austin Peay. Low key. I mean, looking at these spreads, it's just a lot of points to cover. And not only that, with the clock against you now, no first downs don't stop it, out of bounds don't stop as much until the second and fourth quarter. But it just, the clock is a lot faster. The game's a lot faster. For instance, looking at this, Rutgers and Howard was, I believe, 52.5 points. It went under, so didn't cover the over there. Looking at, North Dakota State and Colorado. Colorado is losing to North Dakota State right now, 20-14. So it's things like this where I'm saying, like, I'd give the points if it's big spreads like that. I'd probably give the points to the other team just because of helmet communication, honestly, and just how quick the game is going now. But I just kind of wanted to focus on week ones. I don't think I picked my winners for this week one. It's kind of too late for North Carolina and Minnesota. It's already happening right now. But let's go ahead, and I'm just going to give you the ones for Saturday, the bigger games. Clemson versus Georgia. I think Georgia wins. Do I think Georgia covers the spread? Probably not. The spread's 11.5. I might take Clemson plus 11 there. Penn State versus West Virginia with Garrett Greene at West Virginia. I'm personally going to take plus 8 on West Virginia. I think Penn State will win, but I think in a close one, I'm thinking maybe by 3 to 5 points, something like that, if they do win. So give me Penn State plus 8. Moving on to the other big game, we have Miami at Florida Gators. Honestly, give me Florida Gators in this one, even though Miami's a 2.5 point favorite. I'd probably take the 2.5 for the Florida Gators, or I would change to an alternate spread and probably take the Gators plus 7.5 or maybe plus 5.5, somewhere there. They might lose by 3. But honestly, give me Florida for this one. I do like Florida's team this year. And like I said, with helmet communication, with an experienced guy like Graham Mertz coming back to Florida, I do like their chances. Moving on to the night game. The night game that Saturday is Notre Dame at Texas A&M. Texas A&M is a 3-point favorite. Personally, I would take Notre Dame at plus 3 or plus 7 if you guys can do alternate spreads. I would probably take Notre Dame money line, Notre Dame plus 3, and Notre Dame plus 7 as an alternative money line. And then finally, the last big game, as an LSU fan, I'm looking forward to this game to see kind of how where we are with Garrett Nussmeier and the team, with the new coaches coming in and the new players coming in. We are currently 4.5 point favorite. I'm going to go ahead and say take that personally. I don't think USC is that great this year, especially without Caleb Williams. I'm going to go ahead and say take LSU at 4.5 and our money line. Now, the over-under for that game is 64.5 points. Personally, I think we go under 64.5 points. I don't think we pass that 65-point threshold. But I expect a good game out of that, a really close one. But all in all, regardless of what you do and what you choose to play, I just want you to be responsible gambling. If you're 21 years or older, you can check out any of those books. I'm kind of just going off of ESPN bets right now, but make sure that you are being responsible gambling and making sure that you're not doing anything too crazy, because it can get a little out of hand. It's just, for me, a fun thing to do. I don't really throw too much money on it. I just do it for fun, just to make it more fun to watch. But yeah, looking at those spreads, that's kind of where I'm at. I probably would avoid Tennessee at minus 38.5. You could take them. I might take the over in that. Or you know what? I might go under 56.5. I really don't know. It's just tough, Texas as well, 32-point favorite. I probably take the plus 32 for Colorado State, just because I'm not huge on these big spreads like that. Oregon 43.5. But it's like I said, it's totally up to you. I just want to let you guys know to be very wary of how this year plays out, just with the spread and the points. Now that we have helmet communication and the game has sped up a lot more. But yeah, other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. We'll again be getting into more Champions League talk and picks, UEFA Champions League talk and picks when Parker joins us again. And then you'll probably be seeing Bobby very soon. I expect Friday or by next week. So hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Make sure you guys check out the links in the bios. It has Davis's new song in there, which plays at the end of the episode there, as well as my links to my Twitch, YouTube, whatnot. Same for Bobby as well. So make sure you guys go check down there. And I know some people have been asking about the Discord. It should be up by next week. I know I said that last week. I'm just working out some few things with someone, but the Discord should be up very soon. So I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Have a good night.
I packed a bowl and I fell asleep. I never have the guts to be